All right, shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in this episode of The Coma. Hit the like button and the subscribe button, notification bell as well. Shout out to FanDuel, the official sponsor of the show. Big Q representing the mighty Who Dat Nation. We in this one for an update from the black and gold side of things. ESPN says the Saints built one of the NFL's top free agent classes. Shout out to Saints Wire for delivering the scoop on ESPN. What do you guys think? Now, we know it's, we don't really give two whats about what anybody think because we're the mighty Who Dat Nation, but it's always good when they're talking good about you, baby. Don't it feel good? Anyway, let's jump right into this article, man, to kind of talk about it. Y'all hit that like button. As free agency spending spree may have not boosted the Saints' reputation in NFL power rankings, but ESPN's Ben Solak disagrees. He ranked all 32 teams in free agency based on their performances in the offseason, and he argues just 3 teams did more to improve their rosters this spring. The Saints were ranked 4th best out of 32 teams. Here's why Solak was impressed by the signings of left guard David Edwards and running back Travis Etienne Jr. and linebacker Kaden Elliss. This is his comment. He said, "I love the overall approach. The Saints didn't have a ton of cap as they're still extricating themselves from void years of the seasons past, but the light is on the horizon, and what space they have, they used it well. Edwards is an older player, but guards can age well. He was the most talented player on the market at that position. A-Chain isn't enough of a playmaker to be a dominant 3-down back, but he's an excellent 1A in a committee approach, bringing a well-rounded skill set. Ellis is a uniquely good blitzer who will give defensive coordinator Brandon Staley a useful curveball as an off-ball, on-ball hybrid." Now, the Saints gave out only 3 significant contracts, but I like all 3 of them. And this is good here. He also talks about we're already seeing the Saints change their philosophy to free agent contracts as all these 3 bigger deals were structured simply without voided years. We covered that in the previous show. He said it's a good place to be to be in the older contracts with guys like Derek Carr, Demario, Tyron, Cam work their way out of the books. There's still work to be done, but New Orleans got better with each of these moves. As for what's next, Solak shared his take on what should be their priority, upgrading the receiver core. I didn't love wide receiver depth was an issue in New Orleans even before Rashid Shaheed was traded at the deadline. Last year, Chris Olave had 156 targets, rightfully dominates when he's healthy and available. Juwan had 102 targets, enjoyed a breakout as a high-volume stick mover. But Shaheed had 66 targets, still ended the season as the 3rd most talented or targeted receiver. And running back Alvin Kamara 4th with 39 targets, has an uncertain future with the team. The Saints desperately need a big-body receiver who can take 6 or more targets per game. How about Devine Vele? He's there. And 10 plus when Chris Olave misses time. Cornell Tate, number 8 overall, anyone? Right? And then he does mention Devine Vele. This is the writer here mentioning him here, saying Devine Vele is someone the Saints hope can step in and be that big target at the first down marker. He did show a knack of winning contested catches and holding on to tough passes over the middle of the field, but he wasn't a regular part of the offense until the last 5 games when his body wasn't able to hold up the punishment that came with the heavier workload. This is a great point. The Saints shut him down with a shoulder injury for the last 3 weeks of the season. You'd like to think that he can bounce back and take some pressure off Olave, but we got to see it to believe it. That's also true of guys like Jalen Polk and Trey Palmer, who missed the entire 25 campaign with injuries, right? So good comment there. Have the Saints already done enough to put themselves over the top in the NFC South? Maybe, maybe not. Just 2 wins separated themselves from other teams in the division. And Solak put the Falcons as the distant number 15 team, with the reigning champs Carolina a bit further back at 17. A Mike Evans-less Tampa Bay team in decline fell to 22, and New Orleans could really surprise some people by making up some much-needed ground in an already competitive division. They just need to follow up with a strong free agent class, with some smart investments in the 2026 draft. Shout out to John Sigler, Saints Wire. Good article here. And just looking at some of the points that Mr. Solak put in his commentary about loving the moves. What's not to love? You get the the most dominant guard in free agency. You get him right off the bat. He fills the most obvious hole you have in your offensive left guard position. Travis Etienne, several articles was being thrown out about him being linked to the Saints. We covered a bunch of them. It turned out where there was smoke, there's fire. That was also a marriage there where they locked in, and he has become the featured back in Kellen Moore's offense. So you have Tyler Shuck, you have Travis Etienne, you have Chris Olave still under contract. Devine Vile is phenomenal. I just need him to gain some more weight, get a little bit more, gain a little bit more weight so he could be a little bit more durable to take that punishment. But outside of that, what's not to love about it? And then, of course, getting Kaden Elliss, a guy that's familiar with the system that was taught by Demario Davis to step in this position. It's just amazing. So even though a lot of people are not crazy about the Ellis, I think he'll change your mind ultimately when the season starts. You'll realize how smart Kaden Elliss is, how he reads and reacts, his tackling ability, very solid. And plus, he's still in the prime of his career. He's a team player. He has that NFL bloodline with his father Luther being there. He's an impeccable character type player. He's a natural leader, and he can help, And then of course the Saints, I think, will add players in the draft as well to kind of help fortify. I think Jalen Ford and Isaiah Stallbird. These are guys that also could step up, especially Jalen Ford. He was a tackle monster for the Longhorns when he played there, and he showed glimpses. He just has to stay healthy and step up, because there could be opportunities based on help. And also we have Stutzman as well as Pete Werner there as well. Pete Werner staying healthy over the last couple of years is also a big positive. So what's not to love here, right? Then, of course, you look and you talk about the targets and adding a wide receiver. A lot of people think the Saints should add a wide receiver. The Saints have been looking, and be honest with you, they have been looking at a lot of wide receivers as of late. Zachary Branch, a bunch of wide receivers. There's so many of them that it's kind of hard to kind of talk about. But yeah, the wide receivers, Chris Bell, who else we talking about? Ted Hurst. It was about Carnell Tate. I mean, it's Mekhi Lemon. It's a bunch of wide receivers Saints been looking at, and for different reasons. And it could be bolden to their philosophy of what they're trying to do. Is it hinting at a draft strategy? The Saints are definitely have wide receiver as one of the top things that they're talking about in their list as well. So time will tell. All right, nonetheless on that, man, let's keep it moving. I got another news item to share with you guys. After that is the fact that NFL defensive lineman, former Saint defensive lineman, signed with the Cowboys. That's right. John Sigler also writes on this, and we're talking about former Saint defensive lineman Jonathan Bullard. That's right, Jonathan Bullard. Very solid player for us. Jonah Williams, Jonathan Bullard, both of those guys going on to other teams. We did bring that Chris Rump the second, but I was advocating for those guys to come back. The Saints ultimately did re-sign other players there, the defensive tackle and Big John Ridgeway, and the rest of them didn't have an out here. As the Saints look to kind of move younger, Vernon Brockton and other guys. We still have Nate Shepard and others interiorly speaking. Divine Godcho's still there. He has to step up this season. He had a horrible first year with the Saints. He had to get better there. So a former Saints defensive lineman will be playing elsewhere. Mike Garofalo talked about it. Cam Jordan, free agency, they're still tagging him to the Chargers. We'll see. But Garofalo reports that Jonathan Bullard is signing a 1-year deal with the Dallas Cowboys up to $2.5 million. And if he hits the incentives, this could be a nice pay raise for over the 1.4 the Saints paid him last year. So he got a little bit of boost there. So former Chicago Bear third-round pick from Florida Gators. Bullard played 6 games in different teams since turning pro in 2016. The Cardinals, the Seahawks, Falcons, Vikings, and recently with the Saints. He was phenomenal as a rotational interior defensive player for us. I wish we would have got him back. We weren't going to spend 2.5 for him, though. Bullard, 32 locked, 27 snaps on defense last season. Didn't miss a tackle on 209 reps in the run defense, but he didn't offer much on the passing downs, notching 3 passes and a couple of batted down balls at the line of scrimmage on 116 snaps. He was also penalized twice, once for defensive holding and later for neutral zone infraction. Now he'll be moving on, and then they hope to elevate the Cowboys defense that met some lows in last season. So it's an opportunity for the Saints to get younger. Of their 5 interior defensive linemen who saw 100-plus snaps last year, only Bryan Bresee was under 30 years of age. Bullard may have been a backup, but that meant that 32-year-old was backing up Nate Shepard, who's 32, Divine Gacho, who's 31, while splitting reps with Jonah Williams, who was 30. He said it's not sustainable, especially for rebuilding the defense. With Bryan Bresee's future up in the air, the Saints have not picked up the 5th-year option for 2027 and must choose to do so by May the 1st of 2025's draft. May the 1st of this year and the 2025 draft pick, Vernon Brockton, returning from a season-ending injury. The position group lacks a long-term vision. Bringing back Giant Ridgeway III is fine for Deputy, only managed 73 snaps in the 4 games while dealing with injury. Don't be shocked if the Saints spend an early round pick on the defensive tackle in 2026 NFL draft. This is a good point right here by the writer. That's why I like his articles, because he has a good Saints brain. It's almost like Bob Rose. To a bit has a Bob Rose type acumen when talking about the Saints, because this is true. One of the biggest and sneakiest interior positions we touched on this before when we talk about the Saints interior situation, is because people are looking at the loss of Cam Jordan, this sort of thing. I thought the Saints would probably either get rid of Divine Gacho or rework his deal, or whatever the case. They keep him and Nate Shepard there. And Nate Shepard played a lot better last year. Divine Gacho wasn't that enough. I was surprised by them bringing Giant Ridgeway back on the 2-year extension. I was surprised by that, because even though Giant Ridgeway is big, he's not as dominant as you would like to have. And Vernon Brockton, who is incredibly raw for a 3rd-round pick, we don't know what he can do. We remember the tape on him. He's a big guy that could play inside, outside, very violent hands, but hasn't done anything to show that he's worth, that what he can be relied upon. Now, Bryan Bresee, coming off injury, and was really big, a big step that we are kind of overlooking outside of the fact that, the Chris Olave contract extension is the Bryan Bresee 5th-year option thing. They have to May 1st. Me personally, I don't know. I don't think the Saints are going to pick up that option, because usually when you take that option, it kind of balloons. But we've seen them do this before with former players when they don't pick up the 5th-year option on players like Brian. We've seen with Cesar Ruiz. We've seen it before. They simply don't pick up the option, and they just work an extension before the end of the before the contract expires. So May the 1st is also something that the Saints have to look up, and that's something we have to just keep an eye on, fam, to be honest with you, because that's true. A lot of people are looking at wide DB, and rightfully so, the star position, right? Rightfully so, to be looking at. But the realities at the same time is the fact that defensive tackle could be a position. We've been talking about it. We did articles, we covered it, and that's just something to kind of put on your brain. I know I'm breaking down something else for the fan, but that's what we do at the Sports Cone. We always throw a little extra a bit of tiblets in there, so to speak, giblets, or whatever you like to eat. But yeah, so he's gone. So shout out and congratulations to our fantastic former interior defensive tackle. I wish we would have signed Jonathan Bullard. Y'all heard me advocating to bring him back. The Saints wasn't going to spend over $2 million, paying over $2.5 million like the Cowboys did to bring him there. But he well deserved for him. But like I said, man, going to this option, right? And this is what we talked about here. The 5th-year option for Bryan Bresee. Just to touch on this before we get ready to kind of leave out of here, because people say, okay, Q, why would they not? Shout out to Ross, because he did this article. I think I covered it at the time late January, about Bryan Bresee and things the Saints have to look at going forward outside the Chris Olave extension. How much, that was big news. One of the biggest news that came out. People looking at who should they draft? The cornerback, the star position, is it Caleb Downs? This sort of thing. His connection, saying he's a Saints supporter. He grew up being a Saints man, and he wanted, talking to Tyler Shuck in the broadcast, we covered that. But this is big too for May the 1st. That'll be coming up for the 5th-year option for Bryan Bresee, who could be the future of the Saints position. Now, what is the option? The 5th-year option's guaranteed contract amount based on a variety of factors, including playing time and playoff appearances. Bresee doesn't check the boxes for accelerated calculations. His projected 5th-year option is still a sizable $13 million. And this calculation is based for the basic 5th-year option is the average for the 3rd to 25th salaries at the position over a span of 5 years. So that's the formula for coming up with the option. Well, regardless, the Saints are not going to commit $13 million to Bryan Bresee. His production didn't meet that money. So they're going to decline that, my estimation. Now, when they decline it, they'll try to work out an extension for Bryan Bresee that's more so comfortable for the team, because I think the team likes Bryan Bresee, but his production definitely needs to step up. But a lot of people smartly are looking and saying, hey, Q, don't be surprised. The Saints could very well in the 2nd round get a really massive interior defensive tackle, a really good one there that can help out the team. So yeah, we'll be looking for that, man. We'll see how all that falls, because at number 8 they can get the best interior defensive lineman in the draft there. They can end up with them, but like I said, it's a wide open situation no matter how you count it for the black and gold, and it's going to be interesting going forward, man, just to be honest with you, man. But we'll see how it all goes, man, in the draft. And speaking of strategy, man, 30 visits, Saints 30 visits hint at a clear 2026 draft strategy. Does it? Saints have been taking a look at some top playmakers. Could this be hinting at something? Well, they're looking at a certain amount of people. If you're going shopping and you just looking at the fruit and you're just, and you going to different stores and you pricing fruit, it's probably a chance you're going to buy some fruit. Well, the Saints had reported, has 6 reported 30 visits so far. Now, these 30 visits, it's allowed by the NFL, the team to invite up to 30 prospects to their facility and meet with the team privately. Then there aren't on-field workouts during the 30 visit, but it's more of a way for a team to get to know a prospect further and deeper, right? Like a pro day, a personal one. They're important in the grand scheme of the draft. The on-field workout is obviously helpful, but there's a lot of talented players. Sometimes the meetings are different between picking one guy or another. 6 of the Saints' 30 visits have been shared publicly. John Sigler did most of them. He shared on the list. The wide receiver Chris Bell from Louisville, wide receiver Mekhi Lemon from USC, cornerback Mansour Delane from LSU, wide receiver Ted Hurst from Georgia State, safety Zakee Whitley from Penn State, and wide receiver Carnell Tate from Ohio State. Saints have been looking around. So now there will be more, but the initial list, there's a clear trend emerging: wide receivers, wide receiver, wide receiver. 4 of these 6 30 visits are with top wide receivers in the draft class, followed by a cornerback and a safety. So there's still a lot to talk about. No pass rusher, none of that yet. But the number 2 receiver spot in the team's biggest roster hole, and the fact that they're meeting with playmakers left and right, shows that the Saints are taking the position very seriously heading into the draft. So if the Saints want to take a guy early with the 8th pick, someone like Tate could be an option if the Saints were to go cornerback, Delane, and wait for the 2nd round to see if Bell may be an option, right? I think a lot of people would like that, to see Mansour Delane, and then they pick up Chris Bell from Louisville for Tyler Shuck. And that's still very early on. The Saints are clearly looking hard at top receivers in this draft class, so don't be shocked if New Orleans does get on board early and bring in a pass catcher. So shout out to the writer for kind of right now hitting that, and he is right. The Saints are definitely looking at a bunch of wide receivers in an attempt to prove the team. So nonetheless, man, shout out to you guys for being in the stream on this one. Hit the like button, man. That's all I got for you on this stream. Listen, I'm going to holler at you on the next one, man. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button and notification bell for more of these type of reports. So you don't have just one notification bell, get all that here, bite-sized morsels for your pleasure. And also shout out to FanDuel, the official sponsor of the show. For all your prop bets and betting, go to FanDuel, the app, to bet. And also check out if you guys are interested, man, in helping the show grow, you can become a member. Go to patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. That's patreon.com/the Pro Media Network to get access to literally dozens of hundreds of shows behind the scenes, mock drafts, player breakdowns, all kind of stuff. We have it available on patreon.com/the Pro Media Network, or just simply become a member of the show. But if you go Patreon, you get access to On Cue, Big Q, our news show, as well as our On Cue archive as well, with deep videos, stuff like that. We got all that. So with that being said, man, I'm gonna get on about it here. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all take care of yourself, and I'm gonna holler at you with another one. Much love, peace, and who that?
Who that say they gonna beat them? Say who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them? Say who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them? Say who that? Who?
Hey, New Orleans! Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the Riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with thehootitdaily.com. Your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit thehootdatdaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation.
Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping the Pro Shop, the Pel Shop, or the Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below or in the chat.